Welcome to the OBM Podcast. This is a platform where awareness, new perspectives, healing, and transparent conversations take place. Every mom has a motherhood journey that is unique, yet no mom is alone. So sit back, relax, open your minds, and steady your hearts to hear a mom's journey through motherhood.
Hey, sister friends, welcome to another episode of the OBM Podcast. Today, of course, as you know, you have your host, Shanika Tyrone, but today we have a guest. Her name is Ashanti Griffin. Ashanti, say hello.
Hey, y'all.
Okay, y'all know we're going to talk about motherhood today, but before we get into that, homegirl is a person in herself before she is a mom and anything else. So, Ashanti, can you share a little bit about who you are?
Yes. Well, my name is Ashanti Wanaki Griffin. I have two beautiful children, Taylor and RJ. I'm married to Ryan Griffin. I used to work for the Department of Children and Family, and I currently work with pretrial services with the court. So I do like first appearance. So, get arrested, you may see me at first appearance. I love dancing. My husband is also a pastor. So I'm also a first lady.
Yes, she's a first lady. The only lady.
The only lady.
The only
yes.
one. Okay, good. So you have two children.
Yes.
And how long have you been married?
So come June 16th, we will be married for 10 years.
10. Wait,
yes.
10.
Yes.
What y'all gonna do?
We wanted to do, the whole little wedding all over again, renewing our vows, but it's just like as time kept going and then the pandemic was not really getting that much better. We just gonna probably just chill out.
Okay, chill out.
Last year we went to Las Vegas, so this year, I'm not sure exactly what we will do.
But y'all gonna do something.
We're gonna do something.
Yeah, gotta celebrate.
We're gonna celebrate.
Not a lot of people made it.
Just no babies, no more babies, but we're gonna try to celebrate.
No more babies. She's good with two. She's good with her two. Okay, Ashanti is definitely, and I love that you love dancing because I love dancing too.
Yes.
And you are really great at it.
Thank you.
Yes. So Ashanti has shared who she is. Now we're going to go into, as you know, she's going to talk about her journey into motherhood. So let's start there.
Okay.
Go ahead and share your story.
All right. Well, like I said earlier, I have two children. Taylor, who is 8 years old. RJ, he's 4. My journey started 8 years ago. Nothing was planned.
Okay.
So that's why I say for our 10 year, we're going to have fun, but hopefully we'll have your children. Neither one of them were planned. 8 years ago, I just remember, I guess 9 years ago, I remember telling my husband, Ryan, I just feel like we're going to have a little girl.
Wow.
It was just something that came over me, like, we're going to have a little girl. And then next thing you know, we're pregnant with Taylor, and that experience was beautiful. Like, I love everything about being pregnant with her. The delivery it was a mindset. God blessed me with the best nurses, and this one nurse, she had maybe 5 children natural, and so she was like, your body was made for this. You can do this. And so the whole time she's talking through, I didn't have a doula. I didn't even know what a doula was.
Right.
But the whole time she's talking to me, and she's like, you can do this. And so that experience was beautiful. Awesome. I breastfed for the first time. I'm the only one actually, my mom, his mom, my grandmother, only one that ever breastfed. So of course, some of my family members, they were kind of pushed back by it because it was kind of different. Okay. Formula, which is okay if you can, you have to do formula, know. But they were kind of pushed back because I chose to do that route with Taylor. But everything was perfect. Not perfect. It was beautiful.
Right.
But that RJ, Ryan Griffin Jr., he's 4 years old and he's all boy. That was a little challenging. I don't know, because I was a little bit older.
How old? What's the age difference?
They're only 4 years apart.
So how old were you when you had Taylor and then RJ?
Lord, let me see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I think with RJ, my goal, of course, I set these goals, and God has a way of shifting and changing those things. I wanted all my children before I was 30. Okay. So I'm 33. And so I was probably 29, I think. So I had just made my goal. Yes. I want to be done, set, finished.
So you were in your 20s.
I was in my 20s with both of them. But I was earlier 20 with Taylor. And I was, coming from dancing. I danced in college. And so,
what college, honey? What college did you go to?
The Great Bethune-Cookman University,
Whoop, whoop.
home of the Fighting Wildcats. Let's go Cats.
Whoop, whoop.
But with RJ, the experience, being pregnant with him, I was just ready to just get him out of me.
Okay.
So that's how I felt with him. And then when I went into labor, I think I lost what the lady had said. She was like, "You can do this." This was her telling me, "You can do this.
Yeah.
Your body was created for this."
Yeah.
So with Taylor, when me and Ryan, my water broke, we ran around. We were like, "What do we do? What do we do? Call a doctor.
Yeah.
Go to the hospital." It was beautiful. But with RJ, it was just kind of like, "Oh, okay, well, my water no broke, so I'm gonna go to the hospital." But when I got there, I'm on the phone talking to my sister. It's 6 of us, and I'm on the phone talking to all of them. We all did like this little call.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to them, and we're all laughing. So of course I'm not getting my mind right. And so they say, these contractions started coming. And so as they started coming, I just like, "You got to get him out of me.
Wow.
Give me an epidural. I don't care how you get him out. Just
Listen.
get him out."
Yes.
And then so he comes out. He's healthy, thank you, Lord. But he
Yes.
had some breathing issues.
Okay.
So we dealt with that when he was much smaller,
Okay.
being on medicine. He still goes to Nemours. So yeah, he's all boy. Like you would never know kind of what we went through, but he's literally all boy.
Wow.
And he's night and day. Girls and boys are completely different.
Yeah.
Night and day.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like Taylor's pregnancy and labor and delivery were smooth.
Yes.
And beautiful.
Yes.
And then when it came to RJ, things were a bit different from your perspective, because you felt like it seemed like your mindset was different.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I really believe that anyone, just like that lady told me, your body was created for this.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are natural, that do the whole natural thing, I think that's a beautiful thing, and you can do it. And those who may need some assistance, like it's like you got to get your mind right. And I think with RJ, it's like I wasn't focused.
Mm-hmm.
I was just more so. I was just like, get him out of me, and it was a lot.
Yeah, and I know sometimes that pain, because I can attest to it.
Yeah.
That pain can overwhelm you.
Oh yes.
And that pain can take over, and you might need that epidural and that Pitocin.
Yes.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
But I think the message to get across here is know that you can. Yeah. But it's okay if you can't.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's one thing I am learning as well. Just talking with my husband, is learning to give myself grace.
Yes.
Because
yes. I know what you mean by that. Yeah, for sure.
I always, I say RJ, he's all boy, but with him, Taylor was, she learned how to go to the potty. She did everything, not even by the book, but just on time, and she was really advanced. And then with RJ, he's kind of been testing us a little bit.
Test your gangster.
Testing my gangster, right? And so with him, we have to learn to give ourselves grace. And every day, it's something new with him. He's very smart, very intelligent, and my grandma called him an old man. Oh, because she feels like an old soul, like he's been here before, and so he thinks he's older than what he is. So yes, he's a little challenging. And Taylor, not that she doesn't have her moments, she does as well. Yeah. But one thing I'm learning is to give myself grace. Yeah. And whether you can, if you go in with that plan, like me, like I always have a plan. Everything is about. I have a planner. I have it on my phone. Have a physical planner. And so sometimes God has a way of coming and interrupting those plans. Yes. And that's where I had to realize I have to give myself grace on all those things.
He's speaking to my soul right now. He's speaking to me.
You gotta give yourself grace.
You gotta give ourselves some grace. Give yourself some grace.
Yes.
No, let's not be so hard on ourselves, because we are our worst critics. Oh yes. That right there is very serious. Okay. So I heard you say grandma. Mm-hmm. So you have your grandma. Yes. And so that's his great grandma. Or is that?
Yes, that's his great grandmother.
So your mom is alive. Mm-hmm. Your grandma is alive.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus. So it sounds like 4 generations.
Right. And we most recently lost my great grandmother, who was 102 years old.
Grandma.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
yet we know that grandma is enjoying
her
time with the Lord.
On her tombstone, and also her last couple words was, "I have a date with Jesus."
Wow.
So she was ready.
That just gave me chills.
Yeah.
Seriously.
She was ready. She said she has a date with Jesus. So.
Wow. That's beautiful. Sorry for your loss. I know it's hurtful. Yet we know grandma is definitely with the Lord. Beautiful, beautiful. So that was that. And when you said recently, what year was that?
It was at the beginning of the pandemic. So I want to say it 2020. Was 2020.
So that was 5 generations? Okay, have you guys ever taken a picture together?
We all took a picture, but only with Taylor. So
okay, but that's still 5 though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the last picture we have of her, because funny story is that I think it was in February, because I remember having on dashiki.
Yes, Black History
Month. Black History Month, right. And so we went up there. Well, we got a call. The whole family got a call that, hey, grandma isn't doing so well. You know, she wants to see everybody.
Okay.
So they brought her back home because she was in hospice, but they brought her back home. She wanted to go home. And we were in Atlanta, and so we went down to Jacksonville, which is where I'm from, Duval County.
Duval.
So we went to Jacksonville to see her.
Duval County. Is that Duval County?
Duval.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So we get there, and I'm just like, hospice where? Like, this lady was sitting up. She was talking, and I have pictures of her praying over me, over my husband, over my children, speaking life into us. Now she is at the time dying, you know, she's not feeling her best, but she has the ability to say, hey, I gotta pass what I have to my grandkids. And so she began to pray over us. So
that was definitely a special moment for sure. It's cool. You're good. So with grandma, y'all were able to take that picture. And with that picture, do you guys still have it?
Oh yes, still have it.
Awesome.
Still have it. And so my son, that was his first time meeting her.
Okay.
That was his first time. Taylor had met her before, but that was his first time meeting her. And I wish that my grandmother and my mom was there, because then I could have had all of us.
Oh wow!
In there, but they wasn't there. It was just me and my husband and my 2 children. We had went to see her.
Okay.
Because they had already seen her. They had been over there all week.
Yeah.
And she actually didn't pass until maybe July. Or later that summer.
But you saw her in February.
Yeah, we saw her in February. Wow. So even though she was on hospice, that doesn't necessarily mean death all the time. Like like I said, she was up, she was moving around.
That's good.
So yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's really good to hear that. Her story. And my God recently showed me that it's a rebirth.
Yes.
And though death is so challenging to face as humans, but as believers, I think he showed me that it's like a rebirth, and it's still a beautiful thing. Though sad, it's still, especially being a believer, it's still a beautiful thing. So you had the 5 generations. Now, how was it being a mama, pregnant, having children, with all these generations following you? I know we do things a little different.
Oh, yes.
Tell me the difference between having them in your life.
Oh, yes. We do a lot of things. Us millennials or whatever generation we're supposed to be a part of.
I done forgot by now. I done forgot what generation we are in, but that's all right.
Right. We do stuff completely different.
Yeah.
So, you know, my family's from the old school. My great-grandmother, which I didn't even know, but she actually worked on a cotton plantation. She wasn't a slave, but she picked cotton, and that was the way she made money, and she raised her children.
Okay.
My grandmother, she worked in a factory all her life, took care of children. My mom, she worked at the post office. Now she worked with the city of Jacksonville. So everybody kind of has their own little expertise, basically, on what they do and what. So with my grandmother, my great grandmother, making sure this house is kept. You get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, or 5 o'clock, or 4 o'clock, whatever time you gotta get up. You get up, you make breakfast, you make sure that the kids' clothes and stuff are ironed before that night. It's just like they had like a routine.
Wow.
And so with my mom, with her it was a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
And so we didn't see mama get up, before school and make us breakfast all the time. Hey, you better go grab a granola bar or, get some cereal. Or when you get to school, eat, so it was a little different. And so then when it came to my children, well, actually, I can start with the whole birth itself.
Yeah.
So when I had Taylor, we have a tradition where the oldest family member, they come and they bless the baby.
Okay.
So that's anybody who has a baby in our family. The oldest member comes, they give the baby the first bath, and they pray and they bless the baby and pray with the couple.
Wow.
And also, this is the traumatizing part for me. They wrap your stomach, which I wish I would have kept up with it, but they wrap your stomach, they wrap your head. You gotta have socks on your feet. They don't play that. You cannot leave the house. And so the mother of that child, so like my mom will come and live with me for at least a month. And so she will cook, she will clean because you're still open. You can't go in the kitchen, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so that's kind of been passed down where the mother takes care of her daughters or, my mom only has all girls, so she takes care of her daughters. So So
that's awesome.
Because I was ready to go out the house, not go out the house, but just more so I needed some fresh air.
Right.
And I breathe. Let me breathe. And she was like, no, you're still open.
Oh wow.
So wow. You gotta keep your pores are still open, so you have to keep socks on your feet and
sounds
your head
like my mother.
Yeah.
I just like, Mom, chill.
Right.
But I thought she was the only one, but obviously she's not. This is definitely a generation thing.
It's a generation thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful tradition to keep. Are you going to do that with your children?
Yes.
She's going to wrap those
She's going to go through exactly what I went through. Now with RJ, they came and they watched the baby and they prayed over him. But I think my mom saw how that affected me because she was the one who wound up staying. So my grandma, she actually wrapped me and did my head. At this time, my great grandmother wasn't, she didn't come or anything. So with RJ, my grandmother came, and so she wrapped me and she did my wrap my head. But my mom, when she left, my grandmother went home. My mom was here, and so she was like, "All right, Shanti, if you want to take it off." But now, because I kind of had like a little snatch back with Taylor, and I wish now I would have listened, because then I would have had a little bit more,
the fupa is all right to have, honey. The fupa is all right.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's cool. I think that's a beautiful tradition. And it sounds like it was really a blessing to have all those generations with you during their time of pregnancy and postpartum. Yes. I'm sure that was helpful, and there's a beautiful tradition to say, hey, somebody stays with her, married or not, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
For that month, and you support her, and I know that was helpful. I can only imagine. I'm sure 3 months would have been nice too. However, it could have been also overwhelming. So I think a month was perfect.
Yes.
Month was perfect. So growing up with different generations, because it sounds like it was 1, 2, 3, still 4 for a long time until you had children.
Yes.
So having 4 generations growing up, I want you to share anything that positively or negatively affected you, affected your parenting, or maybe affected you because something happened maybe when you were young. Kind of share your story in that.
Okay. So I guess positive, because that's just kind of how I look at things. Like it's a lot of negative stuff in the world, but you can flip those negative and make it into a positive. So what positively happened is that I always say I come from a long line of strong Black women.
Yes.
And when we think of strong, we're like, oh, she's so tough, she can take anything. No, she's strong enough to say, hey, I need help.
Wow.
Because sometimes we are, we feel like we can't ask for help.
Yeah.
But one thing I did see with my mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother is that their strength was actually, in a sense, it was kind of like they were willing to ask for help. They were just their resilience. Yeah. So they never gave up. And I think that's really what it was. It's like they were so strong that they didn't give up. So I guess one positive thing I can say is that like my mom, my story basically is like we were removed from my mom. And so where we have a long line of mothers, strong mothers, my great grandmother, she actually had a baby when she was like really, really young. I'm not sure if she was 9 or 12. I'm not exactly sure.
Wow.
But her first baby was removed from her because she couldn't keep the baby.
Wow.
So that baby was removed, and my grandmother didn't know she had an older sister because she thought she was the oldest
Really?
for a long time, which is a funny story.
Wow.
But she thought she was the oldest for a long time. She thought that her oldest sister was her cousin, but it was really her older sister. So that baby got removed and got sent to Miami. And so as they got older, she got her back. And then with my grandmother, she had several kids as well, but she worked, and that's why she worked in the line. That's why she's she has a schedule. She has a plan.
And you got that from her.
And I got that from her. And so, you go by this plan, you have a schedule, you keep the schedule, and you work, you take care of your children. It doesn't matter. Have a husband or not, you take care of your children.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of, went into her children, but then when it got to my mom, the generation that my mom kind of was being raised in, or the era, I said the era that she was in, crack, cocaine, and drugs was really prevalent during that time.
Right.
And so, a young person my mom actually was in college. She wound up falling in love, which is kind of another reason why she didn't really too much want me to be my husband, is because she was like, well, you're in college, you don't need anybody. She was real protective, and I was all the way in Daytona, she was all the way in Jacksonville. But her story was that she went off to college, and when she went off to college, she fell in love with this guy, and they wound up getting married. He was able to get on drugs. They started using drugs together, and while they were using drugs, he was able to be a functioning addict and get off the drugs and do what he got to do. But with her, she wasn't able to function. And so he had decided to leave her, which kind of had my mom kind of spiraling, downward.
Yeah.
But my grandmother was still there to help her to, she didn't give up on her, basically.
That's good.
And so when my mom finally lost all of us, and at the time it was only 5 of us. And so she lost all of us, and we wound up moving in with my grandmother in a shotgun house. So a shotgun house is basically, you can open up the front door and see the back door. Wow. And she might have had, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, no AC, just like an old fashioned house. And so she doesn't have central AC, so we had to open up the windows to get some breeze and have a 1 fan in the middle.
Yeah.
But that's how we were raised. But the resilience, because they told my mom that you would never see your children again. That is what the judge told my mom.
You guys were taken away by DCF.
Well, at the time it's called HRS, now it's called DCF.
Okay.
So yes, we were taken away from them, which is kind of funny within itself, because here it is, I was removed by these people as a child, and I later on wound up working for the department, which I never in my mind imagined I would be doing exactly what happened to me. But yeah, so we wound up staying with my mom, but a lot of moms, one thing I found, a lot of moms don't work they get a case plan.
Okay.
So a lot of moms don't work that case plan. My mom worked that case plan. She got us back maybe within a year or a year's top. We was with my grandmother, but she had us back within a year or so.
Wow.
And so just her resilience and her steadfastness to say, hey, I love my children so much, even though I might have messed up and did whatever,
Right.
I trust God. And that's really what it is. I trust God, and I know that I love my children.
Yeah.
And so to me, that shows your strength and tenacity that, hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my children back. After a judge told me you would never see them again.
Wow.
So she got us back, and my mom now owns a home. She's working, getting ready to retire in 2 more years.
Yes.
So she's doing great.
2 years?
2 more years, yeah.
Wow.
2 more years. And so just seeing her strength just kind of made me say, hey, you know what? I can do whatever I put my mind to. And so I'm the first in my family, really, out of my immediate family, to go to college.
Yeah.
And so I didn't just go to college. I finished, not toot my own horn or anything, but I finished at the top of my class, went on to get my master's, currently working in my field. And so I'm just grateful and blessed that, I was able to see the resilience and the strength to hold on and keep moving forward despite all the odds. from my family, from my mom, from my grandmother, from my great grandmother. So
you have and I know in the world right now, especially right now, the words strong Black woman can, depending on who you're talking to, have a negative connotation to it. Because it's just like a strong Black woman looks like someone that doesn't give up, but that kind of pushes through, just fight through it, just get over it, and sometimes doesn't ask for help. But you're speaking of your grandmothers and your mom being strong Black women because they were resilient. They didn't deny help.
They did,
and they were willing to ask for help. And that resilience is beautiful to see. And yes, they are strong Black women, and you were able to see their weaknesses, but in their weaknesses, you were also able to see their strengths, them kind of push through with the support of others around them.
Exactly.
So they were strong because of their support system.
Oh yes.
That's awesome.
And that is so true. I was honestly talking to my sister before this, and she was like, well, make sure you give a shout out to the aunties. Well, I'm gonna give a shout out to the aunties.
Aunties, you matter.
They matter because it does take a village. You know, my mom can help, but it's something about your child loving your sister a little bit more than you. My son would come home. Yeah. My son would come home and he would like, Sawana, he'll throw right up to, okay, well,
what about mommy?
Right.
Trust me, I can understand that. Just saying. Yeah. Go ahead.
So it does take a support system. Yeah. So whether that's friends, family, mothers, other mothers, it really does. Especially when it's hard. Yeah. Because to be honest, mothering is hard. It's a challenge every day. You know, we wake up and we sometimes have to go with the flow. Because if you don't go with the flow, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Yeah. So I set a schedule, but it may not go like that. You know, instead of a straight line, it may be wiggly. You know, and so I am very grateful for my support system, my sisters, my mom, friends, and even the school. Like, you'll be surprised how Taylor's now in elementary, and so like her school is amazing.
West Side is the best side. Just saying. I used to work there. I will toot their horn. Go ahead.
Yeah, and she's had some amazing teachers to just help her along the way, because she's grown up to be a young woman, and she's changing, and she's changing really fast.
Oh, slow down, Taylor!
I want her to slow down so bad, because it's like, man, you was literally just a baby. Yeah. And so, she's changed. RJ's growing up too. Yeah. But
cute little handsome self. He is a little man.
He is a little man.
He really is. Oh, he needs a hat.
Oh no, he wears hats. He wears hats. You should see him on the first Sunday.
Listen, Ashanti, homegirl will wear hats. She gets dolled up. It can be first Sunday, third Sunday, whatever Sunday.
And that's a tradition so going to church, period. Yes. And from my great grandmother all the way down to my mom, we were dressed for church with the lace socks, with the slip,
She makes lace socks, by the way. I'll shout her out. She makes lace socks. What else you make, girl?
I actually have a business called Imani Creation.
Oh, we're gonna come back to that. Imani Creations. Put it right here. Put a pen in it. I want you to finish with your what tradition y'all do for Sundays.
Well, Sunday we have a tradition. We wear big dresses. So you would think like, wait a minute, why are y'all in a gown? No, that's just how we dress. Like my mom dressed us that way. Her mom dressed her that way, and her mom dressed her that way. And that's just kind of just been a tradition. Also, eating after church. That's Sunday. We
as a family.
Yes, and we have a friend here. He cooks or whatever, but we all, hey, what a let out at? That's what we say. Like, what we eat? And we love to eat. Yeah. We love to eat, and eating for sure, and family, and keeping the family together. Keeping the family together. And I think those are things that through the years I've seen my mom, my grandmother, they always try their best to keep us together. So it's, like I said, it's a total of 6 of us. Wow. And then my grandmother, she had 6 children, but only 3 are living. Okay. And then my great grandmother, I think she has 12 children. Wow. In a set of twins. So
wow. She has a set of twins.
She has a set of twin girls.
Twin mom girl power.
She has a set of twins. And so, yeah, and my grandmother actually had 2 sets of twins.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I said we're not trying to get
Because it's coming.
It made me knocking on the door.
Hey, Ma, it's 2 of us here. No. I don't want to put no more children on anybody that doesn't desire.
Only if the Lord is
only
willing.
If the Lord.
And then, I can be a stay-at-home wife. Not mother, stay-at-home wife.
Stay-at-home wife.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they still going to school.
And that's a hard job in itself.
Yes.
We're not going to sit here and act like stay-at-home moms got it easy. I tried it, couldn't do it. It's not for me.
Yeah,
so,
it's hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I only get like 2 weeks out of the whole year to be a stay-at-home mom and stay-at-home mom wife. Because, cooking and cleaning and making sure that they're doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Wow. Okay, so we have this resilient line of strong Black women.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom really fought for her future.
Right.
And she is doing extremely well for herself. About to retire in 2 years. Congratulations to your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is, especially to be looked at in the eye by a judge that says,
oh, yes,
you're never going to see your children. She beat that.
Oh,
so
yes.
that's awesome. And I'm proud of her for being sober.
Mm-hmm.
Not sober because she was an alcoholic. Let me drug free.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the appropriate word, right?
I believe so.
Sorry, but yes, she is off.
Yes.
Of that, so that's really good.
And she's been clean. My sister.
Clean. That's what it is. Go ahead.
My sister, my baby sister, is 23. So she just turned 23 a couple of weeks ago. So 23 years. And
wow.
But my sister number 5, which is when we actually got removed because she was a positive baby, and so you couldn't hide it anymore. So when we were going to school and having to lie about it and say, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about," when you had this 5th child, which is my sister, who actually seen my grandmother as her mom because that's who she knew as her mom for that short period of time. Yeah. And you know how they always say the babies get attached and you just get And so where you have this substance exposed baby, she's now 25. So my mom has been clean for 25 years.
Congratulations, that's beautiful. Now, you stated we're going to talk about your business. We're going to talk about, but before we talk about that, I want you to share with us, just briefly, tell us about your experience being working with DCF. That's currently now DCF.
Yes. So HRS, which is now currently Department of Children and Family. I worked with them maybe because I've been at this job for 4 years. Yeah. So I've been working for the state for going on 11 years. And so the first year I was at the state attorney's office, which is because I thought I was going to be an attorney, but God had other plans for me. And the funny story is the only reason why I came back here is because I got engaged. Wow. Because I was happy at the state attorney's office, but I was in love. And so I moved back here to be with my husband. And so when I moved back here with him, it's like I got to find a job. Right. And we had a young lady at our church. She was like, "Oh, Ashanti, come work for us." I'm like, "Okay, what I'm gonna be doing?" "Oh, it's just investigating." Just investigating. And so, I went and I filled out the application, went on the interview, I got the job. And when I tell you that I didn't know I had boggled up so much of trauma. Wow. And it wasn't until I started that job where I started, in a sense, getting healed from my trauma. And so when I was there, I didn't have any children at the time. So going into these homes, the only experience I had was my own personal experience. So I knew how it felt for you to take a child out of a home and place them somewhere else. And then for those kids to cry, even though those children were abused or neglected or abandoned, those children still want their parents. Yeah. It doesn't matter how bad you have beat those children still cry out for their moms and their dads. And so it's like me knowing that feeling, it kind of brought a new perspective working on that job. And so, I go in the field and the same courtesy or the same compassion that I want them to show my mom and say, hey, which later on in life, I realized that they did give my mom compassion. And that was more so because here it is, you had 4 children before the 5th child to get it together. And it wasn't until the 5th child where they actually removed us. And so I'm 33 and the youngest, well, the 5th child is 25. So, you know, you had some time within that moment to kind of like, okay, let me get myself together. And they gave her services. And so that's what I wanted to make sure I did as well. So not just going into the home and being what they call a shelter queen. Because you do have some investigators that were labeled shelter queens. They would just go, oh, this is abuse, boom, take that family. Well, you know, take those children.
Wow.
And so I didn't want to be a shelter queen.
Okay.
I wanted to actually go into the home, and if I can help by offering services. Now, if it was something crazy where these children are in danger, in imminent danger, okay, yes, we do have to remove. We have to get law enforcement involved. But if it was something where, you know what, I think she just needs a little help, then that was something that I make sure that that when I went to that home, I tried to get that family help. And so it wasn't really until I had my own child when I realized that that job was just not for me.
I remember you.
I remember I was crying and praying, crying and praying because it really is a tough job. It plays on your psyche. And it's like, well, Lord, is this what you called me to do? Like, this is a really tough, it's a ministry. And I believe that every case that I got assigned to was who God wanted me to get assigned to. Thank God I never got assigned to any death cases, but I have got assigned to some really crazy cases. And some cases that, you know, people just like, oh, okay, I don't like him or I don't like her, so I'm just going to call DCF. So you get those too. But you also do get those, you know, child abuse and those neglect and those abandonment cases. So, but yeah, I didn't know that my trauma was going to be played out in that. And I actually had to wind up calling my mom. And this had to be maybe a couple months working on the job. I called my mom and I let her know. And she listened. She cried.
Oh, mama.
But it was one of those things where we needed to talk. Because it's one of those things that is an elephant in the room, but we don't talk about it.
Yeah, especially with us African Americans.
Right, we don't talk about it. We know that it happened. But it ain't as bad as you think it is, so just put it over there. Brush it underneath the rug. And so I wound up calling her like a couple months into the job, and she wound up crying, and I wound up calling one of my sisters, and she was like, yeah, that's the reason why I'm like this. You know, my older sister, that's the reason why I like it. I mean, of course, she don't say that now because we went and we talked with our pastor. We've never been to a professional counselor, but we have a church home. And so we went and talked with them, and it's nothing wrong with going to a professional counselor. I still need to get me one, you know?
I have one, so if I know a resource, so you let me know when you ready.
I would love to. But we went and we talked with our pastor, and we all was in the room. So my youngest sister, she absolutely knows nothing. She's number 6. This is mama is clean now. She absolutely knows. So she's just sitting there like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, but then my number 5, she was a baby, but you can tell that she has the most hurt for some reason out of all of us. Now we experienced it. We was in it when all this was going on. When them people was pulling us out of class to talk to them. We were going through all of that. But number 5, I'm calling number 5. It's like we're numbers.
You don't gotta say their names. It's cool.
So my sister that falls in number 5, she which is also when she got removed. She was raised by my grandmother. She has the most like hurt. And that thing is because she didn't have that motherly love. Like even like I said, you have those children like, oh, that's still my mom. Like she's still my mom, you know, and I still want to hug her and I still want to do it, but she doesn't. And so we're in there, we're talking and just kind of crying it out and putting stuff on the table that we didn't put on the table. And you know, my mom, she was like, that was my past. That was my past, and you know. She apologized. But the way she is now, that was my past, and I've learned from it, and we're moving forward. And I think there's a quote that says, you know, that's the only way, until we can embrace our past, we can't move forward to our future.
Which is truth.
And so I think that's something that we all needed at that moment to just like, here it is, I'm a grown woman working, but I had to go back to my childhood to bring all of that up and put it all on the table.
That was amazing that you guys were able to address the elephant in the room.
Exactly.
Because I'm sure that brought, if not total, that at least started the process to healing, or completed it. Because we all need our moms. We need our dads, you know, but we definitely, that nurturing part of our moms, we need.
Right.
So you were able to pour that into your children.
Yes.
I'm sure. And I'm sure that you going through that, there are some things that you did and didn't do as a mom yourself. So kudos to you for that. Is there anything that you took from your mom? You said resilience. You took that resilience. Is there anything you felt like you left in that generation? As far as your parenting.
My parenting?
That you, that.
Well, my mom called me a sucker.
What does that mean?
So, you know, my kids, you know, they are a little spoiled.
That's
just
all right.
a little bit. But I feel like we work hard. Me and my husband work hard. And if it's something that we would like to buy, then we will just do it. It don't have to be Christmas.
Yeah.
And my birthday falls Christmas and my birthday's in the same month. And so I would have to choose.
Yeah.
And so, and even when it came time to go to prom or go to Cookman. So I think it was $200 for the deposit, some type of deposit you had to pay. And she's like, well, this all I have is $200. Either you can go to prom or you can go to Cookman. Now, my mom didn't understand, you know, like the whole college thing, because she went to college, but she didn't finish college.
Okay.
You know, she only went maybe for like a semester or so.
Okay.
But she didn't finish.
Okay.
So to her, it was like, well, you can go to college, you don't have to go. You know, if you want to go to prom, he uses money for prom. Thank God, once again, a village, I was blessed with teachers that actually pulled together to do that. And so that was something that I just don't want to do with my children. If we have to work hard, you know, if I don't want to be on this job, but I'm going to stay on this job to make sure that I'm able to provide for my children. And so, I mean, she called me a sucker, but because, you know, we could be in the store and RJ may be cutting up. I just want this toy, Mommy. I just really, really want it. It's like, okay, all right, RJ, just get it. And so I am, you know, we starting to cut back on that because he is getting a little bit older, so you have to teach him about responsibility and stuff. But just a little bit.
That's all right. No shame in your game, okay? In your parenting skills.
Yes.
So, as we get ready to end, I want to, two more questions, but one of the ones that I want you to share with everybody is an encouraging word for anybody that may have been through the system before. Anything that you want to say to them to encourage them. Go ahead and do that if you feel like you have anything.
So I guess as a child going through the system and also working in the system is, you know, if you need help, seek help. You know, and once again, as a parent, it is hard. Yeah. And so they do have this thing called parent needs assistant. And so if you need assistant and you feel like you can't give yourself grace, you can call them and say, hey, I need some help. Okay. And they can, you know, put you with the right services.
Is it something you go like google.com and you type in parent needs assistance?
You can go on their website. I can't remember the website. It's like Department of Children and Family or something. Okay. But you can go on their website and you can basically fill out a report on yourself and say you need help. And then if not, for the system, not necessarily for the system, but just personally as a parent or as a mom, you know, just ask for help. Ask for help. So whether it's from a friend or a relative or a church member, just ask for help. And remember to always give yourself grace. Yeah. Because it's hard being a parent. It's hard being a mom. You know, we work, we clean, our job is never done. Yeah. So even my mom, she constantly calls me now, and I'm an adult. Her mom calls her. But Teresa, did you do that? So it's like, as a mom, your work is never done. So if you need help, ask for help. Yeah. And give yourself grace.
Yeah, that's what we started with too. Show yourself some grace. But she said you can go to Department of Children and Families, and on their site there's something about parents needs assistance. And don't be afraid to do that. I'm sure we would rather you do that than it get to the situation where your children have to be taken from you. So she worked with DCF and she was a part of the system herself, and she was able to speak to her mom. So please reach out for help. If you can't take yourself to that point, talk to a friend, talk to somebody that can reach out for you, because we want to catch it before it gets worse. So please do that for yourself, for your future, for your children's future, okay? Now, I said we're going to stick a pin in it. We're going to come back to this. You have your own business.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and briefly get some information about that. Please share.
Well, my business is called Imani Creations. And so Imani means faith. And so basically that was a faith move for me.
Okay.
It's actually named after my daughter. Her name is Taylor Imani. And so I wanted to make sure I added that in there, because it wasn't until I actually had her where I started getting creative.
Wow.
And so I used to paint or do stuff in school, but to do it outside of school was different. So like you said, I started making socks, started making diaper cakes. The next thing you know, you want to have a nice birthday party, but you don't want to spend all this money. So I started doing balloons.
Wow.
And so now I actually stepped out on faith.
Okay.
And so about a year now, I've had that business, Imani Creations. I actually have an event on Saturday.
Go girl.
So Imani Creations, and I do all balloons. I've done 3 weddings.
So Imani Creations, you guys focus on balloon garlands
And just party decorations, party decor. And so I can do table settings, centerpieces. We have done all types of backdrops. We did weddings. We did a beach wedding not too long ago.
Yes, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, beautiful. Awesome. So how can, and I'm going to share your information below for those that are listening, and also for those that are looking. Her information is below. Share your website and all that, because you're in the Daytona Beach area.
Yes, but we will travel.
Okay, how far are you? Are there boundaries?
The farthest I've gone will have to be Miami.
Okay.
Because I had a 60th birthday party down there.
Okay.
So from Daytona, I think that's like 4 hours.
Yeah. So you're willing to travel out of state?
I'm not sure if I did Renika Babies on, but one of my friends, she lives in Georgia.
Yeah.
So listen, we travel.
Homegirl will go where you are. Okay. We are so thankful for your story. You have a beautiful story, a resilient story, and you were able to share with us both perspectives, being a child that was taken away from her family, but also being a part of a mom that was resilient and a family that was extremely supportive. And then you were able to show us your perspective from being not in the system, but you were on the outside helping families. So you worked for DCF to help families get those resources that they need before they got to that point.
Right.
So that's good. So God has a way of, he's
funny.
very intentional.
Yeah, he's funny like that.
Yeah. Very intentional. So your position there was very purposeful.
Yes, and it was a short time.
Yeah.
Because I'm not there anymore. Praise God.
Yes. I remember those phone calls. You was like, I can't do this.
Yes.
It's time for me to go.
It's time for me to go.
Yeah, it was really stressful.
But I'm actually working in my field with
Yeah.
pretrial services,
Okay.
and so I actually do first appearance, which is basically just researching criminal histories and making kind of recommendations for the judge if someone should be released. Is this person a danger to our community, or should that person not be released? So that's kind of what I do now.
Wow.
Which I enjoy that a little bit. Also I get home at a decent hour to be with my kids.
You used to get home so late.
And sometimes not come home and I was breastfeeding.
That is so true. I remember that.
So I'm like got a full breast and I'm at all these different people's house. So it was very difficult.
Yeah.
Trying to raise a family. So before Taylor, before I had a child, it was a little bit like, okay, and Ryan was doing football, so okay, I can do whatever. But now I got children. I gotta be home.
For sure.
And my mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother, they've always been present. They've always been there.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that I'm watching them grow up. Yeah. And not someone else raising them.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good way to keep moving forward. For sure. Ashanti Griffin. Wait, tell us your middle name again.
Wanaki.
Wanaki?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, beautiful. Ashanti Wanaki Griffin.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. Thank you again, girl.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the OBM Podcast. We look forward to you joining us next week to hear a story from a mom near you. So until we hear each other again, please be sure to take it easy, be blessed, and smile. Remember, you can enjoy life.